On the History Channel, I was watching the other night, showing that what was it, Alexander the Great, or was it Hannibal? Hannibal. And we're talking about Hannibal would use elephants, and Hannibal would get 50,000 men together to go marching into invading some country. While I guess the Romans he was after had 20,000 men or 30,000 men. And look at that and say, everybody was carrying a sword. Everybody had helmets. All the men on either side had sandals on and their skirts. And you look at them, figuring out that's a lot of metal. Of course, everybody had metal arrowheads too, and shafts and everything. That is a lot of metal being mined up from slaves and then being melted down and hammered. That's a lot of wood. And at that time, it's all wood, of course, turning into charcoal, whatever. Yeah. That's a lot of stuff. So they get to conquer someone else. And maybe, let's see, Hannibal had his armies munched by the Romans. So he took over North Africa. And he went to Spain and he built a big army there. And how did he do it? He got silver mines there in Spain. And he raided the silver mines, who paid for the helmets, the leather vests. A lot of cows got butchered that way. Hey, good eating for a while. Sandals, bows and arrows, spears, shields. And when you're talking, Hannibal had 50,000 men. The Romans had 50,000 men. Eventually, Romans won. But, you're talking that cities would be attacked, burned to the ground. And that war's always been interesting. Go to war and, hey, the middleman, I can get you cheaper. I got my swords. Or maybe you had armament people, industrial complex, government industrial complex, armory. Somebody has to make the arrows, but it's peacetime. It won't be soon. Somebody will invade somebody. We will invade somebody. You always need arrows. You need bows. You need sandals. Did they custom fit sandals? Only for the generals. Everybody else got a custom sandal. Everybody got a custom skirt. Everybody got a custom shield. And they said about protect yourself against arrows. You had something like this, double knitted in their thing, and you have raw cotton underneath as a bullet shield or something like that. You got your helmets out there, and you got your regular shields, and then you got your long sword, and you got your stabs. People charge here. Well, 100,000 men died yesterday. Wow. Well, you got all the metal, you strip them down, let them rot out there. But still, numbers. It's like, wow. The industrial complex. Yes, we can provide you with 50,000 shields. Yes. Oh, our men have been manufacturing sandals forever and ever and ever. The Egyptians used to go to war between planting from they plan everything, and then they go to war, and then they come back and harvest everything. If they come back to harvest everything. That's how people fought back then. And somebody had to make the helmets. Somebody made the chariots. Yeah. As Hannibal did is that he used elephants against trained elephants, warfare elephants. You know, they were the tanks of those things. Hey, they even had trunks. You know, they scared the enemy's horses, you know, fleeing. But I'm always baffled is that they had a population. You know, every female was pregnant every year. Your female wife or daughter or mother or something, they're pregnant every year until they die in childbirth. Why? Oh, well, to plant food, usually wheat, to harvest wheat, and in between to go to war. Standing armies. But somebody had to make the chariots, somebody had to make the bridles, somebody had to do this, and somebody had to do that. Somebody had to make the pouch that will carry water for the guys. Think about that. Your one job is to make a canteen. That's your only job. Make a canteen for each troop guy is going out. What they could have done if they didn't go to war, but hey, something like our current situation, how much money that was spent in trying to take a rock into the 21st century. That roads were put in, water wells were drilled, schools were built. Saddam didn't do any of that, unless in the major city, but most of it didn't do anything for anybody. In Afghanistan, we went from the Taliban, and we try to bring everybody into the 21st century. Well, let's see. The local tribal leaders got pickup trucks, and the Taliban is back in control. War has always been interesting. Somebody had to do this. World War One. What was it, France or Germany? Oh, I think it was France who used tear gas, and Germany used chlorine. What's the beneficial of World War One? Well, let's see. The telegraph improved, the telephone improved, the aircraft improved, the tanks improved, the machine guns improved, yes. The killing larger numbers improved. Chlorine, which was used to kill troops, turned out to be very efficient to kill bacteria. First in the hospital for water in your hands and that. And secondly, in the water system itself. It's very likely how many people died in World War I because of chlorine attack versus how many people did not die of diseases, waterborne diseases in New York City or that thing. You know, people died of typhoid, people died of, besides smallpox, yellow fever. People died of these things because of bad water. So the death rate in World War I in New York City because of the flu, a lot of it could have been prevented if the water systems contained chlorine. And war is beneficial. Airplanes, World War I. Yes, the Germans took advantage of that by producing bombers. Yes, they carry bombs instead of passengers. Um, uh, the automobile, yes. It turns out to be the automobile in France was used for ambulance service. Trucks were used for ambulances. Saved lives, yes. Um, Ford make it Model T was it 24 million of those were made before he decided to change over. That's a big deal, and basically the trucks were developed in France because of the taking troops to the front line and taking wounded and dead back. Um, well, let's see. We went from what else was great? World War I. Shipping, which is funny, okay? Steamships, you know, lots of steamships, yeah. United States Navy now still have ships running on steam. Yes. They transport the material for the Marines and the Navy around the world, but they're still run on steam. But you thought, what? Yes. And they get people employed by the government who are my age, you're 1 foot in the grave, both feet in the grave, running steam boilers because there's nobody there, nobody else is around to know how to run them. There are no steam engineers around, steam locomotive. There's no steam locomotive here. Someone says we have to employ people from other countries to come in here to run our steam engines and our ships so we can transport military goods to other parts of the world. Really smart. Something like radios or computers. They're still using Windows XP? Wow. Yes. And some of the, quote, laptops are, oh, that thing. We are, but hey, well, let's see. La, 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 la. Oh, chemical weapons, yeah. It is said that chemical weapons have already been used in Ukraine by the Russians. They don't think it's they don't think it's like phosgene or that thing, chlorine. They think it was nerve agents. It could have been a pesticide. There's a lot of stuff that, Agent Orange did nerve damage to U.S. forces when the helicopter crews sprayed it on, basically on the jungle with U.S. forces down there. And yeah, it did major damage on the GIs. Of course, it's also they were smoking a lot of stuff there too. Yeah. Oh yeah, don't worry about that. That's one of the things about chemical weapons. It's classified, especially in things. The new war with President Putin, who really doesn't care about how many Ukrainians die, and it seems he doesn't care how many Russian soldiers die because they're not being equipped with chemical suits, gas masks, or anything else. What a world we live in.